Welcome back to New to Medical Device Sales. I am your host, Jacob McLaughlin, and today I have a very special guest. Today we are bringing you a member of our New to Medical Device Sales course who was able to break into medical device sales with one of the largest companies in the world, was going through multiple interview processes. And she is a former sales rep at Cintas, Lauren Lewis, who is 27 years old, who has a great accent, who's going to be able to share her journey breaking into medical device sales. And I know she's going to be able to provide a lot of value to you all. So I hope you have your notebooks and your pens ready to go. And Miss Lauren, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much, Jacob.
It's great to have you. How's the last couple of days been realizing that you finally broke into med device sales?
The hard work definitely paid off. So I kind of feel like very relieved and excited at the same time. So now I'm just kind of in the waiting stages of starting on Monday. So
I love it.
For it though.
It's awesome. It's great to see all of your hard work and where you've gotten to where you're at right now. So just first off, congratulations before we get too deep into it.
Yeah, thank you.
It's awesome to see, but wanted to just kind of just touch base of like, who is Lauren Lewis? Can you kind of give a little bit of background about who you are and kind of like, where you went to college, what you maybe studied, and then got you into like Cintas?
Sure. So I played softball 5 years old all the way through college. I first started at Kentucky, but I was a medical red shirt and I had 2 hip surgeries my freshman year there. Then after I transferred over to Sanford in Birmingham, Alabama, to continue playing softball. And what kind of sparked my interest is I've had 2 aunts in medical device for about 18 to 20 years now. So after college, I did some ride-alongs with them and kind of learned more about the business and just seeing them go through their careers. So I've always had that interest. But after college, I did start with sales and mortgage. I just didn't want to rely heavily on the housing market, but I eventually ended up at Cintas. So I was there for about 1 year and 4 months, and I put up really good numbers there. And that I use as a stepping stone getting into medical device. A lot of people did like it with medical device, but seeing people through the course, you absolutely don't have to have that business to business sales, but it can help you when you're going through the process as well.
Yeah, you're 100% right. Like, again, a lot of people will say, hey, we want that B2B sales experience, as you've seen through the course, just being in our weekly meetings, that you don't have to have it. We've gotten plenty of people hired without it. But there is a piece of it. And just throughout the process, like, what are some of the biggest things when you were at Cintas that you felt like you learned to make sure that you're like getting more prepared for med device sales? Because again, I don't ever want anybody to think that you shouldn't do B2B sales, right? My whole conversation is, if we're doing this podcast, is if you're already in it, great, we can still help you like yourself. But number 2 is you don't have to go do B2B to get the job. Like if you're a college kid or you're someone who's 24, 30, or however old you are, it doesn't matter how old you are to like I want to go do B2B sales. You actually don't need it. We can help you without it. But if this is going to be talking to the people working at Cintas, working at Enterprise, working at those places already, where do you feel like it did actually help you to go through maybe the journey of breaking into med device sales?
Right. It definitely does teach you the sales process. They have a phenomenal training program. So just the start of the sale, cold calling is huge. And it's also similar with networking. In the course, you're going to have to be calling and reaching out to a lot of people. And me having that experience of getting told no over and over again, hopping on a call to network, no, over and over again. It's a whole numbers game. So the more input you put into it, the better output you have. And that's the same going into medical device. So that's a big learning thing I learned at Cintas. And there are some other people in the course that can get discriminated from hearing all the no's. But I think that's one thing that it definitely taught me. And just going through the whole entire sales process, who to call on, and being more of a consultant than sales person, and being able to speak to that. And if you're able to sell like toilet paper or whatever to a business owner on a 5-year contract, then you can definitely sell in medical device if you're successful at Cintas or Enterprise or wherever you are.
Yeah, that's great advice. And it's the truth, right? It's like, so just so you all know why people like the B2B sales experience is because what she just said is A, great training. You already have an idea of what the sales process is. Like if you're selling toilet paper to anybody or whoever it is, right? Like you already know how to do it. But also what it shows you is, hey, how are you prospecting? How are you doing stuff? Now, first off, transparently, that's we help in the course with that, and we teach you guys how to do it if you don't have that. But number two, though, is why they do also like it is the rejection, right? Because they know when Lauren comes in that she's already been told no. She's already been ghosted before. She's already gone through the process and had deals fall through. And guess what? She's still here. She still is in sales, right? Compared to that's a guess of like, we've talked to people and they're like, oh, I'm all in. And then they get told no. And then they're calling me almost crying. And I'm like, what are we doing here? Right. Like it is just a process. So that's an absolutely great point. Now, I'm excited to really dive into your journey and your story because it was quite the story. It was quite the journey. Like, just so you all know, coached a lot of people. And I can tell you by far, Lauren's had probably the weirdest process and journey with the individuals she's met in the med device sales process, just from the fact of questions that were asked by managers, suggestions, and even conversations slash comments that have happened to get her to where she's at today. There's a lot of, you almost have the job to, you didn't ask me the right question that I was expecting you to ask me. And it was like, okay, great. Like that, it just, yeah, going past it. So Lauren, can you just kind of explain, we don't have to say names of companies, but can you just kind of explain your process in this? Because your journey was not like a lot of the students we've had. It's been more of a roller coaster, as we would say.
So I guess, would you want me to start with like the first offer? Like where would you like me to
yeah,
start?
yeah. No, I think it's a great question. I think some of the interview processes of like, for example, the comments that we've made of the unnamed company where they were just like
Right.
some of the managers, how it was handled through that process. And what I mean by that, asking you certain questions, doing things, oh, you didn't say this, so you got knocked out, right? And then you kept your head up, go through it, and then you got with another med device company, but then you and I had the conversation when the offer was $50,000 and it's like, hey, we can do better than that. Right. So just kind of that journey that you went through.
Right. So I think my biggest thing starting out, I was like hooked on this one company, like one or two companies. I didn't branch out as much. I think that kind of hurt me, or it extended the process of me being in the course, which I would advise everyone to look at other companies, because where I ended up, I was getting the offers of like 55,000 a year. And also it didn't work out, the job that I did want. And it was also going to be a lower offer than what I currently have now. Came in, I guess, second. So runner up to getting the position. And he said that I was a great candidate, but not for that position. He can see me in a different division. So I was knocked into like a final round interview. I had like maybe 1 or 2 days to prepare, drove 2.5 hours to Nashville to do the interview. And then they said I was a great candidate, but not for that division. Maybe they can see me in another division. So I was just being passed along, but I was a great candidate, and it was very frustrating. And that kind of opened my eyes to looking at other companies. I think that was a big like turning point. We had a lot of good conversations about that. And that's when I actually started networking with these other companies and seeing how much more I could make salary, but also seeing how better they treat their candidates. And that's a huge thing with me, always being on a team and liking the manager, liking the culture, especially. So I honestly want to say I'm blessed to end up where I was. And it come down to those two great companies at the end. But it definitely was like that long rejection process and being redirected through the whole interview process. You never know what's going to happen during the interview process or what candidates they have in mind. And it definitely makes you, keeps you on your toes.
It does, yeah. And so the one thing I just wanted you to share, and it was awesome, but I want you all to hear is, one of the things we had, like she said, a lot of great conversations is when Lauren first joined our program, and she was really hooked on one company and she wanted to do the company and be with that company. She married the company, as we say, right? But as we say, always keep your dating options open. And the conversation to that is this company has not only done it with Lauren, they're currently doing it with a couple other of our students right now, and our people and our members in our program. Is what they'll do is they'll have you come in and then they won't give you the offer, but then they'll slide you into another division that they believe, and then that person won't get you an offer, and then they'll slide you, and all you'll continue to hear. It just happened to one of our other members where they're like, you are going to be amazing in this industry. You are an absolute stud. You are the best candidate we've seen for a long time, but we're not going to hire you for us. We're going to give you to someone else, but we need you to be a part of this company. And let me just tell you the conversations I've had with Lauren and I've had with the other members. That is a bunch of bull pooey. Throw it out the window, because here's the reality of the truth. If they really believe that, they would hire you, right? Let me make it clear. That is like me out dating and I'm out kissing a girl and I'm like, oh, you are amazing. You are great, but I don't think we should make it official. But you are mine. Oh my gosh, you would be great. But I think you might be better with my buddy, Justin. That doesn't add up. That doesn't make sense. And so what I'm just saying is I always bring it back to the dating game, because I get a lot of messages, DMs, and people in the course saying, hey, it's helped me a lot when you put the analogies. But let me just make it clear. If you have a company telling you you are amazing, that you're the best, that we think you are an awesome candidate, and I think you're going to do amazing in this industry, and then they don't choose you, welcome to I'm passive aggressive. I don't want to actually give you the real truth of why I didn't choose you. I don't actually want to stand firm in my decisions and just say, hey, Lauren, you're a great candidate, but not the candidate for us. Best of luck. And then what these people do is then they try to pass you along to another division so they don't feel as bad. And then they get you in a division, and look what happened. It was ping pong back and forth, because then you had 24 hours to prepare a final, which you did great on. And then you drove 2.5 hours to just get told, you're amazing. We've been interviewing people for a couple more weeks. We think you're great. Let's try to get you in here. And then you and I have a conversation of like, rip the Band-Aid off, stop chasing them.
Right.
Because they've already kissed 2 other girls right in front of you, but they're still saying they like you, right? It's like, well, let's go actually just go find somebody who actually cares about you, right? And you did that. And just candid with you all, I try to always be protective of companies and everything, but like, she was with one of the largest robotic companies in the world who offered her. Like, she had other offers. The offer she just took is way higher financially than the other offers that she was ever going to get with the other companies that we get people hired at. But then we always have to do negotiations with, because they're trying to put at the bottom of the barrel $50,000, $60,000, $70,000. And then we always have to negotiate up to get them. We get those, but it's a lot more work compared to the offer you just got. We don't have to do a bunch of crazy negotiating because the offer's pretty dang good.
Right. Absolutely. I definitely, now seeing and looking back on everything, it makes sense. I'm so glad it worked out the way it worked out. But the feelings, like being in that process, it is super frustrating. But you do have to just stick to it, and it will make sense at the end if you just keep at it. I know we had the conversations like, on the first initial offer, I can turn it down, and I know it's going to prolong how long I'm going to be in the class for, but I mean, that offer almost doubled. So It definitely makes it better. And
it don't suck.
Right. And I will say, I know a lot of people want to get hired as quickly as possible, but me staying in the course for that long, I was able to learn a lot more than if I was only in it for a couple weeks. So even though I wanted to be hired quickly, I think I learned and was better prepared coming into this role. Just being on the calls and learning, and even doing more research on the companies as well.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. And then something just for all of you to hear, right? Like, we have people come in and, we've gotten people hired, Joe, in 2 weeks. We've gotten, we just got Delaney in 5 weeks at 125. Like, we've had all these people come in and it's been great. But the real conversation that we have is it's got to be the right place, right? Like, we talk about, and I say this to everyone in the program and in our course, like, you guys all hear 8.2 weeks, $94,478. And I always make it really clear when you guys get in the program, you guys care about that, right? Like, for me, I'm making sure you guys go to the right place that's going to be a right fit for you. I'm not a program. I'm not a company that's like, take the first job that you get offered so I can put it on my stats, because it doesn't work for me. Because also, that's not what's best for you. right? We want what's best for you. And just so you all know, one of Lauren's first offers was, like you said, faster in the course, but it was for a $55,000 offer. They weren't going to cover all of her gas stipend and all of her car expenses. And I talked to her, I did the math, and I'm like, this doesn't make sense. And you're a grown adult. You do whatever you want. But my professional advice is do not take this offer. And so it was hard for her, right? Because she has an offer. She's trying to get into med device sales. But like she said, but what happens is then we come in, and I always tell our people, what if it takes you an extra 4 weeks, right? You guys all want to get hired in a 1 week, 3 weeks, 5 weeks. But what if it took you an extra 4 weeks like you did? And then now you just doubled your income. So you could have got in 4 weeks earlier. But then let me just tell you guys the actual math is you guys get in 5 weeks, 3 weeks, 2 weeks, whatever it is. And then so now you're making 50K, and it's going to take you a year to hopefully get the experience and then go try to find someone else to go make the money you're making now. Or you can just do the 4 weeks longer, which isn't as fun. But then 4 weeks later, now you got a big old smile on your face, and it's a lot more fun, right? And so that's one thing I always just want you guys to hear and understand. It's the truth is everybody's like, I need this now. But it's like, hey, if you can make sure it's the right fit, that's what we help with negotiation, making sure like, hey, what packages are they giving you? Does this even make sense? So we can make sure it's the right fit. And just you and I'm smiling now because I think about that first offer, and I think about the offer you just accepted, how good the team is going to be with you, how good of a relationship you already have with the manager, what you guys already have in common, and some of the things he's already told you that you can do on the side with what you're doing there. Like it just fits your life and it fits your lifestyle. And then now it's like you're going to work less than if you took that first offer. You're going to make double than if you took that first offer. And you're going to be able to do stuff on the side to make more money because you're going to have some fun too.
Right. I definitely felt like uneasy, like it didn't fit me perfectly on the first offer. And I do want to like give advice. I know you didn't take your first offer breaking into medical device, but don't feel the pressure to have to take that very first offer that you get. If you stay in the course longer, I even noticed myself, I got better at interviewing, and I knew what questions were coming. I could easily answer them, and even work on any little thing that I could stand out more and more and more. And I saw me getting way better staying in the course longer, and that's how it paid off. I came down to 2 big offers at the end for me, and it was just kind of night and day seeing how I started with the course and then where I ended. So it definitely paid off for sure.
It's been a fun journey, and just mentioning the course, right, is one thing I always like to say is, you even said it at the beginning, you have 2 family members that are in the industry, right? Like you have people
Right.
in it. And I say this on, people probably think I'm lying, but like I swear to God, when I say every single person I get on a call with, I swear has an aunt or an uncle or a best friend's dad who's at Stryker or whatever med device company. And they always are like, I have the best. And then what most people that especially like are listening, what they do when they're uneducated, they're just like, well, I'm just going to go see what happens with them, right? But what people don't understand is like the best case scenario they can get you is in an interview. And then it's like, what are you doing to beat out the 500 plus? Like we just had a girl get hired at Stryker, beat out 700 people, right? So what are you doing to beat out the other 500 applicants? Do you know the difference between interview 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7? If you don't, if you're not prepared for the questions like you just talked about, how are you getting in? So can you just go into a little detail of like, you had family members in med device sales. What was the turning point, I guess, for you to be like, I'm going to join this program? And can you just kind of talk to what that kind of decision making was like, and then how you felt like the program in our course helped you just speed up the process and also get the job that you have now?
Right. So like you said, like they can get you an interview, but also didn't know like everything about medical device, the difference in positions that I'm applying for, whether like it was a clinical specialist, an associate role, a full territory manager. I didn't know what questions they were going to ask me. I didn't know what interviews would be coming after that. Kind of just get me a phone call with the manager. And it was kind of like I didn't know everything I was talking about, but that's why I was like, they have their own lives. They can't train me like this course can and prepare me for this interview process. It is very hard, the whole interview process, and it's something you do need to prepare for and put hours of work into. And my family members don't have time to helped me with that. That's why I made the decision to come on the course. I watched the videos and testimonials, and that's what really sold me. It did help. Like I said, it was night and day from when I first started out interviewing to when I was ending the course and finished interviewing with other companies. But you do learn like all the different roles, like what they're talking about, and you can ask better questions and sound like you know what you're talking about as well. Instead of like, well, what's like just not being very confident, and they can read right through it. If you don't really know what you're talking about and you're not confident in what you're saying, they're going to notice that and they're going to a different applicant. It's very cutthroat that way. So you do need to know everything, like all the terms with the roles and what you'll be doing and what's required of you and about the division, and kind of you're going to have to learn about like surgeries and some instruments and everything. Yep. And if you don't know any of that, I don't think you're going to have a great shot unless you do and come in very confident about it.
No, that's a great point. And then also one thing I always talk about is our course isn't just getting people hired and then that's it. And we say good luck, right? Like the thing is preparing you guys to go in and actually like my conversation to you right now is like, how do you feel being prepped? Of course, it's always drinking from the fire hose, but like, how do you feel right now being like, hey, I'm going in the job? And just from what we've talked about, and like, we always teach you guys, like, like, I'm like, hey, this is what you're doing right now to break into the industry. But once you're in the industry, this is actually what it's going to look like. I just would love to hear, just because, again, for the people that's listening right now, right, and what we do, because I just want you all to know what we do. I'm not just trying to get you a job and just say, hey, good luck, right? That's why I don't just say, hey, go take a first job for $55K and awesome, I get to put that in our stats. You got hired in 3 weeks. It's we want to get you in. We want you to be driven, but we also want to prepare you to have success in this industry.
I think it's kind of crazy. I was honestly just thinking about this. I feel more confident going into this role than when I was going into the role at Cintas, because I just have done all the homework and I've networked with people on the team and the manager, and I have a better relationship with them, like starting out with this job. And I haven't really entered a job like being this confident. It's kind of crazy. I know it's a very like a harder role, but I think the course like really did prepare me very well. And I'm honestly excited. I don't have like any like uncertainty, like walking into this role and like, what am I going to do? Like, I don't know. It's a really good feeling.
I love that. And one thing I just always ask is like, for me, we have so many people and I just want to touch on this and then we'll move on to the next section. But I just want to touch on, so many people I talk to, they're like, oh, Lauren did it, but I'm different. Oh, you guys will go see the hundreds of testimonials, the hundreds of podcasts that we have, but people will look at it and they're like, yeah, I'm a nurse and I see 50 other nurses did it, but I'm the one nurse that it won't work for, right? Because it always just comes down to fear and scared and whatever it is. But then I'm just always telling you guys, it's just investing in yourself. Are you willing to actually finally stop doing what you're doing? Because insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. You guys have already been trying for 2, 3, 5 months and it hasn't worked. So what changes? You're going to send more messages that haven't been answered and responded to. You're going to do more interviews that you haven't won. You know what I mean? Like that's where we just have the conversation. But you did this, and I always just tell you guys the return on investment, right? Yes, our course is not $2, but we also know we just doubled your salary of that first offer where you're at. You're going to do very well. And also we talked about some of the other things you can do on the side to financially help yourself. And more exciting for everyone to know is Miss Lauren just got a house because she's now doing it. So first off, congratulations on that.
Thank you.
But the last question I really just want to ask is, because this is the biggest fear for most people is they don't want to spend the money, because going back to it just one more time for you all, the difference between broke people and wealthy people is poor people will say how much, wealthy people say, what's my return? A poor person will never spend even a $5 or $1,000 because it's too much money, because they think they just are going and lighting it on fire. But a wealthy person will happily pay 10 grand if they know they can make 10 grand because they know it's the investment. So I say that because even if you guys don't take my program, that hopefully just helps you, because I'm sitting here telling you, I have family members that are on welfare. There's 2 different mindsets here. Lauren, can I just ask you, because I just would love to have you share yours. Like, how do you feel with your return on investment and how you looked at it to make you finally make the jump? Because again, it is a scary jump when you're first investing. When I did my first course, that was $4,000 when I only had like $10,000 to my name. I was scared as heck. But then I finally made the jump. I bet it on me. And then I end up returning that in the first 30 days. But I wanted to see how you feel with what made you finally make the full jump to be like, I'm going to bet on myself and do this program? And then how you feel with like, hey, did we actually deliver the results that you were looking for?
Right. So my biggest thing is like I did have like those initial like interviews that my aunts or other people helped me get at first. And same with softball. Like if you want to be the best at like hitting or any sport, you invest yourself, you do lessons, you go to camps,
Yep.
you get better. And I knew like when I was not in the course, like I was not very good at the interview process. I didn't know what to expect. I didn't really have a mentor, anyone to help me. Through the whole process. And I knew if I was able to come in and invest myself, be trained, coached up, I'd be able to get a higher end role. I'd be able to get a role, like I'd have more options to pick from on where I want to go as well. And I feel like if I had that first offer of like 55, if I wasn't in the course, I feel like I'd be more inclined or felt like I would have to take that offer just because my experience there.
You
And
finally got an offer. You're like, oh my
right,
gosh. And with that, just so you all know, you would have had to move to a whole different
right,
city. Now you get to stay in where you currently live in Tennessee, and you don't
right.
have to leave.
And you have more options like job opportunity wise when you're being coached through everything. And it definitely, we talked about the return on investment on how the job offer was almost doubled, and you're going to have Jacob here the whole time to coach you up. If you turn down an offer, you're not just done from the course. He's going to be there, and you want an offer that's going to like fit you. Like
Yep.
when I told him about one of the offers, like he was like, I kind of know where you're gonna, which job offer you're gonna go with, just how you're talking about it and how it fits into your lifestyle. And it's where I live, which is awesome because where I live in Chattanooga, there's not a ton of opportunities
Yeah.
there. So it just happened to work out like how it's supposed to,
Yep.
which is crazy and was about around the offer that I was wanting.
Yep.
But
And so I just want to put that Chattanooga. I want you all to hear that Chattanooga, Tennessee, because everyone will call me and text me. Well, I live in this area. Can I get hired? I'm like, yeah, we can get you where you want to go. It just might, depending on the area, like we always said, right? Atlanta, Tampa is going to have different opportunities than Chattanooga. But the thing we also talked about is when you are going into a Chattanooga, a Nashville, a smaller market, you have to be a gun because there's less opportunity. They don't come up as often and it's a smaller territory, AKA everybody knows each other. So if you go in and make a fool of yourself, and let me say what that means of you all who's like, what would I do to make a fool of myself? Show up unprepared, not know what you're doing, ask silly questions, reach out to managers and just say, can I learn about your stuff? All the silly stuff. And now you just lost your opportunity. And now after you learn it, you're going to be like 6 months later being like a dog between your, with the tail and your legs coming back and be like, sorry, I was really immature and I didn't know what I was doing. And now you only get one first chance to make an impression. And that's why, especially when you're like in a smaller market, we talked about, it's like you have to be a gun. You actually have to come in and crush it so they know that right away. Because otherwise it's going to be looked over. And then you might have to wait another couple weeks or months before another opportunity in that area even shows up.
absolutely. And managers and companies, they do talk, they do know each other. They will ask each other about different candidates. It's a lot smaller than you think. So it is important to come and put your best foot forward. And I think this course especially helped me prepare in that way. And like towards the end of the interview process, we do something that makes you stand out. And I would come in like feeling very confident, and I'd be highly recognized in the interview process, just how like doing the business plan and everything. They love that. They ate it up. And I think it did get me very far. And just doing these different things in the course and how he makes you stand out from other candidates, it does help you put your best foot forward. And that's exactly what you want.
No, I appreciate that. And yeah, it just means the world. I love watching you guys win. It's why we do what we do, right? Like, it's why we put it on LinkedIn, and people will get frustrated when we post it. I'll say you don't have to take a job for 60K, and then you'll have the ortho, like the managers be like, that's the, hey, yeah, we, no, no. Right? And they get all frustrated. It's like, no, you just took a job at double and you're fine with that. And you're going to work less and you don't have to. But it's like, again, guys, I always tell people it's the crabs in the buckets. It's the people who, like, for example, if they've never made 200 grand, guess what they're going to tell you is impossible to make in med device sales? 200 grand, right? We come in here and we're very open. Hey, you guys want to do this? You want to make this much money? This is where you should go. Hey, you want to do this? This is what's possible. Like, I'll say it one more time. We've said it on other podcasts, but it's like, we have coaches interviewing that have been in the industry under 3 years, interviewing for positions between 350 and 250, right? Like those opportunities. And our coaches have under 2 years experience, 3 years experience. Like you'll talk to reps that have been like, yeah, the days of making 200 are out the window, and they've been in for 15 years because they're not doing it anymore. They're not looking at all the stuff. So we're just here to keep you progressive. But moving on with that, Lauren, is like, what's your advice to people that are like looking to do medical device sales, right? Like there's going to be a lot of people who have sales experience, don't have sales experience. What's just your overall advice of like, hey, if you're trying to break into med device sales, what advice would you go? Because the last thing before you answer that is I'll just say is like, we say it on every podcast. We know, like literally it happens every podcast now. So everyone, just so you know that is doing it, we see you and we know who you are. People will watch our stuff literally right away, call our people like you, and they'll be like, hey, I've done this to 7 other people. I don't want to pay because I'm cheap and I don't want to invest in myself, but I want you to tell me everything at all times and all the stuff, right? And this is where I give everybody just a hard time. I hope you guys are laughing and getting a heckler out of it. It's like, all right, great. There's always going to be the free people. And I tell our people, don't get on calls with those people because again, they're just tire kickers. Because otherwise you guys would actually do something after listening to 100 episodes and actually just take our advice. But the reason I'm just saying that is what advice are you giving to someone who's like, hey, Lauren, I'm a softball player. Hey, Lauren, I'm a baseball player. I'm considering med device sales. Hey, I work at Enterprise. I work at Cintas. What do you feel is the big things to help you stand out in the med device sales interview process?
Right. You definitely, if you're serious about entering medical device, you're going to have to invest in yourself because you're going up against people that are in a course or doing a mentorship, or they're already an associate and they're moving a lateral move. And then you're competing with someone who's already in medical device, which was very tough for me as well. But you have to find a way to stand out. And that's why I think this course is so great. It's very hard. It's doable, but if you want to train yourself up, it will take longer, but I mean, it'll be very hard to do. And I think coming in this course, like I came in thinking I knew what company I wanted to go for. And I never really explored other companies in that process. That's kind of what hurt me. So always keep an open mind, explore every offer and every opportunity. Hearing no, it may sound bad, but it can be a good thing. Coming runner up to the company that I wanted to be with, and I was told no. At the time, I didn't think it was a good thing. And I was like, wow, that's what I really wanted. It's the city I want as well. But now looking back, it was a good thing and it was a blessing in disguise. And you really just have to trust the process. You can easily get discouraged hearing no 100 times, but if you keep at it, it will pay off. And just have fun in the journey. Like when you land your role and accept your offer, you'll look back and you'll like, well, it all makes sense now. And I'm glad it worked out how it did. And it's frustrating at times, but it really worked out like best case scenario for me. I do believe that. And Jacob's awesome. He's always there for you. And he really does make you prepared and stand out in that interview process for sure. And you want to be confident going in. And I mean, he gives you all the tools that you need to be successful. I think that's very important.
I appreciate that. No, and it's just awesome to just see your success. And a couple of things I want to just state to that is most people don't know that. And I have to mention that is you guys all think you're going up against other 22-year-olds, 25-year-olds, or people who have no experience. It's like, no, you're going up against people who have med device sales experience. Especially if you're over 27, 28, 29, 30, you have the opportunity to go for a full line rep role. You're now going up against people who are in med device and they could be a full line rep. What are you doing to get that opportunity? Right. So like, I think that's a big thing that people miss all the time is they think they're just like, oh, I'm just going to go. But to your point, Lauren, is like, we just say all we're doing is saving you guys time and money because could you figure it out in a year? Yeah. But like, also, I want you guys to think about this real quick. And this is where we just talked about the return on investment is, Lauren, don't do our program. Don't do our stuff. Maybe you finally got that offer that you did at $55K, maybe, right? And you take that offer. Well, now you're going to go there. You're actually going to come out of pocket because they weren't covering all your gas, right? So now the 55 is actually way lower plus the tax and all the stuff. And then we don't know what to do compared to you now know exactly what to do. You make over double the money. You're starting way higher and you know the next steps that you need to do to get you where you want to go. And that's the big thing is I always make sure people know if you guys are just looking for like a little job and all that, don't come here. Don't listen to our stuff. You should just stop listening. If you're looking for a career, you want to actually come and make a difference and change your lives, change the patient's lives that you're going to be working with. That's what we're looking for. And one other thing you just said though is like it is about coming prepared and being confident, right? You're going up against salespeople, and if you don't know, like this is why, just so you guys know, it's why med device sales, why they love athletes. You're a former softball player. What'd you know? You needed a coach. You needed somebody to help you to better yourself because you see the investment. People just, they can do it in sports, but they can't do it in business or whatever they're trying to do, right? They're like, oh, it made sense to have a coach because I don't know everything and they can see stuff I can't see in sports. But when I'm doing my own thing in business or sales or whatever, no, I don't need anyone because I'll figure it out, right? And then that's where people struggle. And then that's where they've been trying. Like we get the messages from you guys. I've been trying for 9 months and I have not got one interview. Okay, it's not that you can't do it. We show you every day you can. You just don't know what you're doing, right? And then, for example, you go up against someone who is a full line rep at a small med device company who's now trying to get to a bigger med device company who they're willing to take an associate role because they just want to be part of a big company. Well, that's who you're going up against, right? And so that's a thing that I just want everybody to always hear and kind of understand is you guys have to come prepared because it's the first thing we always tell you guys. This isn't your typical, I'm going to go work at some retail job and make $45,000 a year. And I just did an application and I interviewed with the manager and they gave me a job. It's great. That's not this. You're going up against 500 plus people. You're going to go into a massive interview process because just think about like your process. But this is what we always tell people. These companies are spending hundreds of thousands. Usually from the conversations I've had with like CEOs, it's anywhere between $250,000 and $500,000. And let me just make this clear so you guys can all hear it is, Jacob, how is that true? What are you talking about? Well, when you get a candidate hired at $100,000, that's $100,000 right away. They have to pay insurance, 401k, all that. Then they get a car or a car stipend. They pay for all your gas. Then they send you to training for a week or 2 weeks. Then they know that you're going to come back and then they're going to send you all the equipment. And then they also understand you're new. So you're probably not going to make them much money. If any money, you'll probably lose them money for the first 3 to 6 months minimum. And that's what you guys don't understand when you're going into this. You're like, I'm just doing an interview. It's like, no, this company is looking to invest $250,000 to $500,000 in the person they choose. Why are they choosing you? And that's why I just go back is we talk to so many people who have the $50,000 mindset. That's why they can't get jobs. But what I'm teaching you guys is, hey, how do you guys have the $2, the $4, the $500,000 mindset? Because that's really what you're worth. Because you're getting hired at, if you get hired at $150,000, well, guess what? They're still investing money. You're now worth 300 to them or 400. Like it's a different mindset. And that's how you guys have to prep and prepare. And just like we talked about, mature. That's what I love about our program is we're just maturing you guys through this journey and getting you guys prepped to be where you want to be. And Lauren, I just want to just congratulate you, but also just shout you out because you've matured and progressed so much in this. When you first came in, you're like, what the heck's going on? These people, like, I want to be here, to now how you carry yourself, you talk to yourself, you know what you're doing, you come in very confident. You now have done well enough to get multiple job offers in these massive companies, which you now know you're good enough for to go there. You just bought your own freaking house. Congratulations, goodness sake. And now you're starting your life at 27 years old to go set yourself up on how you want to live. And it was because it all started with one thing of you investing in yourself to say, hey, I may not know everything, AKA none of us know everything. It's why we all have coaches. But it's like, I'm going to bet on myself and I'm going to level up so I don't keep doing the same thing over and over. So 4 months from now, I'm still making the same money at the same spot. And all I've done is just spin my wheels and waste a bunch of time. Absolutely.
And the biggest thing, if you want to be a top candidate at these bigger companies and more higher end role, like you're going to have to invest in a coach. Like it's not really an option. Like any high performing athlete or candidate anywhere, like they're investing in themselves and they're not out there coaching themselves or just doing it. Like they're getting that training, that coaching, that mentorship that they need to be a top prospect. And who you're going up against, like I was in the interview process multiple times and the reps would tell me like you're going up against a couple hundred people. And sometimes these companies already have like maybe a top pick in mind and how are you going to come in and wow them? And you're now the top pick. It's very hard to do. And you do need all that coaching and be prepared for it.
Yeah. And that's a great point. I really appreciate you just saying that to everybody, because that's the thing I want to just put out there one more time is like, one of the things that coaches do is they see things you can't see. The amount of times that I get on calls with people and they're like, Jacob, I don't need to buy your program. I just need you to help me with ABC. And I'm like, hey, I wish that was true, but it's, you don't even know what you need, because otherwise you'd be hired, right? If that was really the case, if all you needed was ABC, you would have fixed it by now and you would have got it. But what you come in and you see what we offer you guys is much more than what you even knew you needed, because that's what you actually need to get these jobs to pay you to what you're asking for, right? But that's the thing I just want to shout out is what we do is like people will be like, oh, I did it. And then we go back and watch film, or we go back and watch our recordings, or we talk through. And I'm like, well, that's why you lost right there. Really? Yes, this is why, because of ABC. Explain it. Oh, okay, that makes sense. That's what coaches do, right? They can see it. It's no different than why you watch film, right? But then again, going back to everyone will get on a call with me and they're like, hey, listen to 30 of your podcast. I know exactly what I need. I don't need to invest in myself. I just need you to tell me this right here. And I'm like, you don't know what you need, because if you did, you would have been hired by now. And that's what a lot of people miss, is that's what coaches are here for. They're here to get you. And like I said, my program and what we do at New to Medical Device Sales, I just want this to be very clear. We're not like other programs that are like, well, we're just going to get you hired. Please just take the first job. We're not going to tell you to go take an on-site specialist job that pays you $20 an hour. Let me just make that really clear. There are programs out there that you guys will go pay lots of money for that will be like, take that job. Yep. Because they're going to say you got in med device sales. That's not me. I'm like, if they're paying you guys under $65,000, $75,000, I'm like, you can tell them to go fly a freaking kite. Why can I say that? Because I've got 22-year-olds hired at $148,000. I've got nurses starting at $120,000. I've got people who are never supposed to break in. We just got one of our girls, no degree, no sales experience. So you're not supposed to even be in the industry. And she's now coming in. She's coming in at $65K. But let me just make this clear. Is that the 95 that we have? No, but guess what? She also doesn't have a degree, which is an absolute requirement, right? And it's if you know how to do it, you can get there. So I just always want to state that is like, you guys, it's about investing in yourself. But like going back to just you, Lauren, I just want you to know I am so dang excited for you. Is watch your journey, to watch you never give up. And that's what hope you guys heard in the stories. Like Lauren is just a fighter, and that's what being an athlete, she just kept grinding. She kept going. When she got told no, she's like, okay, I'm going to go get better. I'm going to get better. And what you heard her say is from the beginning to the end, she just got better. She's only continuing to get better because she has the mindset of I'm going to win. And I just want you guys all to hear that, because that's who you're going up against every day.
And you'll hear a bunch of no's, and it does just take that one yes that you need. And you're going to get a lot more no's than but yes, I promise you that.
It's what we talk about. It's sales, what everyone says in sales, right? That no just got you closer to the next yes, right? And what we tell you guys, you just need one. You guys go talk to 100 people. We just need one person to say yes on us and make sure it's the right fit, right? And that's what you're chasing. And as you see, it's no different than once you're in med device sales. You know how many deals you work in med device sales to actually only have them hit? Like, for example, I even tell people, what happens if you actually even it doesn't matter where you're at in med device sales, whether you're getting like disposable where it's sales coming in every day, but then you probably still have capital. Well, it's not like you're doing capital every day. Like you only win. Like when I was at Medtronic and we sold capital, I only won 5 times, 6 times. But winning that 5 or 6 days out of the 365 days, guess what? Had me crush quota. So that like, just hear that. Out of all the days, only 5 days I freaking actually quote unquote won. But because of that, was able to still succeed quota, right? Like that's sales, right? And that's where you're 100% right. It's just being resilient. It's being able to stay confident and just understand, like I tell everyone, it is a roller coaster. There's ups and downs. There's going to be one day you are on high. You got a call. You are a finalist for the top company you want to do. And you're like, yes. And then the next day they're like, sorry, we went with an internal candidate. And then you're down in the dumps, right? It's like, that is sales. And that's what we help you guys navigate and tell you guys and teach you, because it is a process. But now you're on the other side of the process, smiling with a great offer, with a great company. And I know you're going to crush it. So I just first off want to just tell you congratulations and how proud I am of you. And I know you're absolutely going to crush it, Lauren.
Yeah. Thank you so much. And this course really has been amazing. And I literally couldn't do it without it. Like It's amazing. I'm so excited and I'm pumped. Thank you so much.
Yeah, of course. And if you guys are interested, press that like, subscribe button. A 5-star review does help us grow this channel. But also, if you guys are interested in breaking into medical device sales, as you just heard on this podcast, and then what we do help people break in. Right now, I'm rerunning numbers, which I'm very excited about. Right now, the current person is coming in at 8.2 weeks at $94,478. But I'm very confident once we run all the numbers that it will be less than that and at a higher pay. But we will do that. Click the link below if you'd like to learn more. Again, I would love for you guys to reach out to me. Also, LinkedIn, new to medical device sales, Jacob McLaughlin. Always love connecting with you guys. Always happy to just get on a call with you guys, see how we can help you. Again, I just always want you guys to know, don't need $1 from you, don't want $1 from you. It's why we put out all the free content every single day to hopefully help you guys get you where you want to go. It's just, I always tell people, I can give you all the information, but if you don't go utilize it the correct way, I can't help you. I can tell you to network, but when you send it the same message that doesn't get a response and you're doing it in the wrong way, that's not working, right? So it's just us being able to help you. But if it's something you guys are very serious about, please feel free. Happy to jump on calls with you all. But until next time, I hope you guys keep going after it, keep learning, becoming the best version, and we'll see you on the next one. Peace.